Thank you, Madam Chair, for calling this hearing on the critical topic of tax incentives that promote small business growth. I'd also like to thank our witnesses. Some of you come from a ways away and obviously taking time away from your company to be here with us today, so thank you very much. The economy is still struggling and outlook is still uncertain. We got foreclosures, credit card defaults, and bankruptcies that still remain high, and unemployment is still hovering around 10%. For businesses, and especially small ones, capital markets remain tight and few are expected to hire or expand. Companies remain skeptical about a lasting economic recovery. Small businesses are reeling from the news, and under the new health care law, they're going to be forced to provide health insurance or pay a penalty, and that's in addition to the myriad of new regulations and reporting requirements. Just one example, in Section 9006 of the new law, it requires businesses to submit a Form 1099 for every business-to-business transaction of $600 or more of property or services. Small businesses already bear a heavy burden of paperwork compliance, and this is just another example of forcing small business owners to take time away from the business to comply with an unnecessary mandate. Of course, small business owners could choose to outsource the paperwork to an accounting firm, but either way, the entrepreneur loses scarce resources that could be spent gaining more customers or producing more product. Higher taxes, more mandates, new regulations, and piles of paperwork do not foster an environment that is conducive for creating jobs. Taxes are a constant concern for small businesses. In this economic climate, every expense is an added burden. Small businesses pay more per employee to comply with the tax code and often can't afford the experts to help navigate through it. Entrepreneurs depend on tax incentives to offset some of the costs of innovation and expansion. And while I support temporary tax provisions or extenders, because I know they're critical to small businesses, their temporary nature causes uncertainty. Not knowing whether these tax provisions are going to be renewed makes it very difficult for small businesses to plan for future growth. And I also believe we must make permanent the 2001 and 2003 tax provisions, which lowered marginal rates, and that's why I've introduced legislation to do just that. And finally, I want to say a word about the estate tax and my support for its complete repeal. If Congress does nothing, the top marginal rate of 55% and an exemption of just $1 million is going to take effect in 2011. Small businesses and farms are often operated by families and transferred from one generation to the next. And to pay the estate tax, their heirs could be forced to sell the very land or equipment that's needed to operate that family business. As you've heard me say before, death should not be a taxable event, and we must kill the death tax. And again, thank you, Madam Chair, for holding this hearing on the vital subject of taxes, and I look forward to that testimony.
Thank you. And now it's my pleasure to welcome Mr. Dave Koenig. He's the Director of Tax and Profitability